This year, voters in St. Joseph County will choose their next county sheriff. Voters ask me, Dennis, why are you running for sheriff? My answer is always simple. I am very concerned with the present situation surrounding the sheriff's office. I want our residents to know and understand why I, Dennis Allen, am the most qualified and most trusted candidate in the race to be your next sheriff. I put this video message together to address many of my qualifications and my passion for running. I also put this video together to inform the public of facts some of my candidates refuse and hope do not make it into the public light. I hope you stay with me for just a few minutes of your time. I urge you to stay tuned to reaffirm why I am your clear choice for sheriff and why my opponents are not. I am confident you will be enlightened at best and or surprised at what you learn listening to the reading of this document. Feel free to read along. This document provides the voters of St. Joseph County with facts and circumstances that will assist you in making a well-informed decision when you cast your vote in the August 6th election. Those who know me know I care deeply about the image and quality of service the department provides to our public. Thank you in advance for your interest and intrigue in the facts. Sheriff Laurie and I modernized the department from the ground up to include its infrastructure, equipment, and public brand. Currently, the Sheriff's Department has many internal issues. The facility is not being maintained properly, and the department's image is tarnished. Like many of the county's residents, I am very disappointed by the lack of accountability, the lack of transparency, and poor decision-making. As Undersheriff, Jason Bingaman is directly responsible for everything that is wrong with the Sheriff's Office right now. I am the most qualified candidate to serve as your sheriff. My law enforcement service spans over 32 years. My public service surpasses 35 years. I served 26 years with the St. Joseph County Sheriff's Department, 20 years of which were as your undersheriff. My record is impeccable. My credibility, honesty, integrity, transparency, and accountability precede me without question. Many of my opponents use those characteristics like a punchline. The second page outlines a pattern of poor judgment, dishonesty, zero accountability, and the dereliction of duty on the part of two of my opponents. The candidates may try to attack me directly based on the fact I am the father of two sons with an alcohol addiction. Their mother and I do not condone, nor do we, or have we ever shown or asked for any favoritism for them. They are grown adults and are responsible for their own actions. We will always love them, and we continue to encourage them in their struggle with addiction. One son is a disabled veteran and a Purple Heart recipient. The other is a responsible father and a productive manufacturing supervisor at a factory in Indiana. Our oldest son is a lieutenant colonel on active duty in the United States Army. In addition to them, Vicki and I have two awesome daughter-in-laws and 11 wonderful grandkids. Elections are important, and each candidate must be forthwith, honest, and transparent with the public. The voters deserve to know what's behind the curtain of each candidate. What do the candidates not want the public to know? Elections are not easy. They are most often tough and sometimes rough. Sharing not so endearing facts with voters is sometimes referred to as mudslinging. Facts are quite the opposite. Facts enable voters to assess the credibility and character of each candidate. I assure you, the choice is easy in the case of the office of the sheriff. I ask for your support of my campaign and to elect me your sheriff. My promise to you is this: I will never embarrass you or the department, and you will never regret having voted for me. Please visit my website to learn more details regarding my personal and professional records, my initiatives, and my endorsements. Thank you.
Let's start on the left side of the product with some little known, but very important to know, facts surrounding candidate Jason Bingaman. This is what Dennis believes you should know. Fact: Undersheriff Jason Bingaman was out drinking at the bar with the sheriff the night of the sheriff's accident. Jason failed to take action to stop or prevent him from driving drunk that evening, even though he knew the sheriff was highly intoxicated. Undersheriff Jason Bingaman has not acknowledged he was with the sheriff that evening, a blatant attempt to cover up these important facts for the last 13 months. Fact, on January 31st, 2023, just 2 weeks before Undersheriff Jason Bingaman allowed his boss to drive away from the bar, Jason received a speeding ticket for doing 105 miles per hour in a 55 miles per hour zone. Jason was driving an unmarked Sheriff's Department-owned vehicle. The incident occurred outside the county. He was not conducting official business. The ticket was issued by the Michigan State Police out of Paw Paw. Fact, Undersheriff Jason Bingaman was arrested and convicted for a drunk driving offense. Of important note, Dennis Allen, during his tenure as undersheriff, disqualified Jason Bingaman for employment at the Sheriff's Department based upon his arrest and conviction for drunk driving. Fact, according to a recent report from our former medical examiner, Dr. DeYoung, St. Joseph County has a very high percentage of deaths caused by illegal narcotics such as methamphetamines, fentanyl, and opioids. Despite this dangerous narcotics problem, Undersheriff Jason Bingaman chose to disband our Sheriff's Department Narcotics Enforcement Team. This decision is totally irresponsible and contributes to increased narcotics manufacturing, distribution, and addiction in St. Joseph County. Fact, Jason Bingaman's poor judgment and irresponsible actions clearly disqualify him as a viable candidate for sheriff. As a resident, a voter, the chairman of St. Joseph County's Law Enforcement Committee, and a law enforcement professional and manager himself, Dennis would not support a candidate for sheriff who manifests these types of improper conduct and poor judgment. Now let's move to the right side of the product and address some very important to know facts surrounding another candidate, Chad Spence. This is what Dennis believes you should know. Fact, Chad Spence says he wants to change the culture within the Sheriff's Department. Fact is, he was in a position of influence as a first-line supervisor for years. However, he failed to ever mention or suggest to the 3 administrations he served under. There was a culture problem. Chad does not have the fortitude to address contentious topics. Fact is, Chad displayed a pattern of weakness as a first-line supervisor under Dennis Allen's tenure as undersheriff, and displayed the same weakness and passiveness during the following 2 administrations. Fact, Chad Spence, while a patrolman with the St. Joseph County Sheriff's Department, lied to the administration during an investigation regarding department policy. Chad only told the truth after being informed his employment would be terminated if he lied again. This is an example of dishonesty, insubordination, and a significant lack of integrity. Fact, Detective Sergeant Chad Spence was derelict in his duties and responsibilities as an assigned background investigator for the Sheriff's Office. Chad, a trained investigator, conducted a lackadaisical and unprofessional background investigation that subsequently opened the department to significant liability. Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards, MCOLS, contacted the sheriff and advised him his office did not conduct a background investigation on a particular new hire, an officer who was in the process of being terminated from his then-employer for crimes he allegedly committed. Chad failed to obtain and examine the potential new hire's personnel file and did not receive a copy of the internal investigation, which would have indicated the potential new hire was going to resign in lieu of termination by his former employer. Chad's actions were a violation of MCOLS policy and state of Michigan law. The applicant officer eventually began employment with the St. Joseph County Sheriff's Office, only to be terminated 7 months later when it was discovered by MCOLS that an improper background investigation was conducted by Chad. Terminating the officer was the only option for the administration to prevent further action by MCOLS against the Sheriff's Department in St. Joseph County. Fact, Chad Spence and Jason Bingaman lacked the necessary honesty, integrity, leadership, and personal and professional confidence, all terms they use as a punchline to transform the Sheriff's Department. Chad's passive approach to leadership and his lack of mid- and senior-level leadership experience will only add to the problems the department faces right now. Let's move down to the bottom left of the product to address a comment and observation of another candidate, Joe Bingaman. Joe and Dennis Allen agree on this particular assessment. This is what Dennis believes you should know. Fact: Joe made a statement during a recent township board meeting stating, "The department's administration has absolutely no integrity. That's why I left the department." Dennis agrees. Under-Sheriff Jason Bingaman is directly responsible for this perception. Chad Spence, while still employed with the department, was part of the problem and this perception and not the solution. What action did he take to right the ship? Dennis promises this to his fellow St. Joseph County residents. He will transform the culture and public image of the department and get it back on the proverbial train tracks, beginning on day one in office. I appreciate your time and interest in learning just some of the facts these candidates do not want you, the public, to know. With that, let's head to the bottom right of the product to briefly address a simple fact surrounding candidate Gordon Evilsizer. This is what Dennis believes you should know. Fact: While Gordy is a hardworking and contributing resident of St. Joseph County, he lacks the knowledge, law enforcement experience, and leadership experience necessary to be sheriff. Dennis strongly believes the public deserves to know the facts surrounding each candidate. Please feel free to contact him anytime. He can be reached via Facebook Messenger, cell phone, text, or email if you have any questions. I encourage you to also visit his website at DennisAllenForSheriff2024.com to learn all about Dennis and his initiatives for the department and for the St. Joseph County community. We hope this information assists you in making a well-informed decision on August 6, 2024. Thank you very much.